in the rain, man, I'd rather battle with flames. Head tainted by cloudy judgment, it's overcast in my brain. Explain the weather to me like a 5-year-old. I don't know why the snow is piling up on the bathroom counter, but that's kinda dope. I've eloped to a separate plane through the moon and stars. Truth is lost. When she said I do, was my coup de grace. Who the boss? I've requested time off to remove the frost. Both you and your crew will get clipped together like the shoes at Ross. Here's a food for thought, I'm sick of watching your noodle rot. Content watered down, it's obvious you tossed up for too much sauce. And you ain't raw, man, knew your music was doomed to flop. Worse than an x-ray in Austin Powers after his judo chop. Shoot your shot, don't sit and be bitter, fam. I'm an innovator, you just innovate. I can eat your verse, but I got dinner plans. Most haters had been a fan till they caught the girl with a different man. And I didn't plan to DM till they sent me one over Instagram.
Against my window.
What are you looking at, Nikki?
My hand.
There's something on your hand?
I was thinking about things.
You know when you ever just stare at your hand to think?
You know, I do.
I've never done that. That's why I was curious what was going on there. Is it some sort of new meditation that I need to look into?
Back again.
Is that your gripping claw?
Yeah. Griffin claw? Griffin claw?
Nikki, do you possess Kung Fu grip?
I do. I'm like, oh.
Is that your Kung Fu sound? Ugh.
Yeah.
Bird, what's your karate chop sound? What's your go-to sound?
That's literally what he sounded like with a samurai sword, too.
Yeah. No, I combine, my avian nature along with the primal rage.
I regret asking. I don't know why.
What's yours?
Yeah. Just a little. Huh.
You watch way too much anime to be so fucking limp-dick with it.
If we're gonna do this, like, I'm gonna say that you need to have a little bit more emotion, maybe some inflection behind your words. You really need to put some depth so then people can really feel what you're trying to portray with you.
Yeah, we review everything around here. Your hoods are weak, son.
I don't think I do.
Hey,
It is Sunday, December 10th, 2023, the year of our Lord and Savior, Rakim. And we're here to speed date.
what the fuck?
Hell yeah.
With some topics.
Speed dating.
Woo!
That's exciting.
Speed dating is exciting to you? Have you ever done a speed date?
I mean, we're just gonna flirt with a lot of different topics.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Speed dating. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I talk really fast. I probably could tell someone my whole life story in like 2 minutes.
Have you ever been to a speed dating event?
No, I mean, I watch a lot of like reality television, or used to. So they do things like that. What do they do that on, like Love Island? When
Would you sign up for a speed dating event?
Paradise.
Would you sign up for a speed dating event?
No, I don't think so.
Why
I
not?
fucking would in a heartbeat.
You
Yeah.
would?
All day.
Online or in person?
In person, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit of bullshit, a little bit of wicked. Oh, you want to joke? Oh, your interest. I'm so interested in those. Hell yeah.
These fucking chicks every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there a theme to the speed dating that would make you more or less inclined to join it? Like, women in tech. I don't know, women in their 30s, women in their 40s.
I think the more like fucking cheesy like niche that you get, the worse the experience is gonna be. Let's not complicate it. It's literally like 20 tables with chicks sitting down at them, and you rotate around. Bullshit. Oh, you're a fucking weirdo. Next. Bullshit. Oh yeah, you could maybe get like a couple dirty makeouts in a park. Next.
We talk about red flags a lot. What's a green flag that would make you say, I want to talk to you more?
Dark sense of humor. She
How dark?
mentions like death dark. If you make a dead joke or just a nihilistic, real sad sack piece of shit view of the world, I think I might be into it.
Oh, God.
Does it have to be a joke about herself or just like the world in general? Like, is it self-deprecating or just general, I hate the world and the world should end?
I think it could be either. I think a a girl with a good sense of self-deprecation, as well as, just real fucking, dead baby joke style humor. Green flags all day.
All right. So any young ladies out there who have, self-esteem issues, father issues, if you find this gentleman over here somewhat attractive, hit us up.
Yeah. Feel free to search me on Instagram. D-Bird is dope. I got all sorts of pictures on there, flexing the muscles, flexing my rap skills.
Gold chains.
You can call us or text us. We have a phone number too.
Roads.
213-290-4080. And also if you got a review of your music on our review show and you thought we were complete morons and you want to tell us that how wrong we are, text us. Leave us a voice message. It might end up as an interlude on some project. 213-290-4080.
I'd guarantee it. Yeah, that's going on a project for sure.
Nikki, are you eating some rice cakes again? Cheddar, white cheddar. You need some variety in your life, says the guy who eats the same thing all the time.
I don't always eat the same thing, but when I do, it's rice cakes.
I think the last 4 podcasts that I've done, you've eaten the same thing. Now, I don't know if this is the same exact bag over the last
month.
It is. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What? They don't expire, do they?
I'm not saying they expire, but the fact that you only eat them Sunday between 6 Central and 8 Central, it's a problem. It's chaotic.
It says delectable.
All right, whatever. This month is a very special month for people around the world. It's Hanukkah time. Also known as
Hanukkah.
Yeah, that Chunika, as who was that said that? I forgot. One of those cameos. Whatever. It's Hanukkah time. It's Christmas time. Are you guys in the spirit of the holidays?
Yes.
Yeah, I love looking back on the time where my dad died and broke up my entire family. It's usually my favorite time of year for sure.
Awesome. I'm glad that you have some memorable moments to reflect on, and it gives you joy during this period of time.
Oh, so much.
Do you have like a prayer day where you have like a picture of your dad and you light candles and everybody like gathers around and holds their head down?
I have a Christmas Eve service that my family goes to every year where we drag along my Mormon sister and her Mormon kids, whoever's made the trek, and they're all just sitting there like twiddling their thumbs in this like very Protestant Christian service. And they're like, what the fuck is this? All right.
You do this to them every year or just when they show up? Oh,
that's our tradition is we force Mormons to go into a church that they don't believe in, light a bunch of candles and sing our Christian hymns.
Do you ever ask them how do they feel?
No. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's my mom's way or the highway. And they're coming, then they're going to church.
All right. I won't pry any further.
Well, no, let's spin the bottle here. We're speed dating. Dice, what are your Christmas traditions?
I look at my PTO balance for the year and I say, oh shit, I am over for the carryover, and I randomly schedule a few days and then I end up working through them.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Glad you have something to look forward to.
Nikki, every year, same routine. Like, I didn't take enough time.
You what?
I play Santa. Anta.
Okay.
Yeah, I normally go over to my siblings. Normally it's Roland Rex, Mary Jo. Normally their house and help with Santa. And normally do in the morning with them. Christmas Eve this year, I will be at Vulgar Banshee's house. Yeah.
What is the role of Anta? What does Anta do? Wrap presents?
Wrap presents, and 1 year, actually, she did most of this alone. She made the entire downstairs like Super Mario World, like with floating like presents, like which were like wrapped as like mystery boxes. Like
What?
it was so cool. Like it's like
dope.
wall for them to go through and stuff.
I love that.
So yeah, we do stuff like that. There was one year that I think that we set up a big train that was going around with like presents and stuff, like in the basement or
I love a big
around the
train.
tree. What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
But yeah, so normally it's just stuff like that. Her ideas are great though. She like used to host events and stuff like that, so she has a lot of craft stuff like that to do things, like really cool stuff like that. But
It sounds like Anta just kind of shows up and eats the milk and cookies.
Anta shows up and helps.
Oh, okay. Well, what is Anta helping with this year?
Sometimes Anta will read the Christmas bedtime stories and make sure that they're in bed. This year, Anta has not planned to help with anything yet.
Anta's just going to show up stoned, eat some brownies and some white.
Maybe.
Some
Well,
white
this year Anta is going to be somewhere else. So actually, this year they're up north. My dad has a gig with my sister on the 22nd, so we're going up there to the concert up at the casino. It's like 5 hours away, so she's just going to stay up there and spend the Christmas holiday up in Petoskey. But I'm going back because I'm going to Vulgar's house on Christmas Eve, so I might be Santy for someone else.
That's what I'm getting at. You're going to Vulgar's house and you're just going to show up in your pajamas and then just sit there on the couch.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not judging.
Eat their cookies.
Eat their milk and cookies. Do you have a favorite? What's your go-to cookie?
No bake cookies, but I do love wreath cookies too. I do have to make some wreath cookies.
Slow down. I didn't even hear the first answer you
No
gave.
bakes. I love no bakes.
What is a no bake?
It's this. It looks like this, but it's normally bigger. This is only a part of it. It's oatmeal.
Just looks like a clump of dough.
No, it's oatmeal and peanut butter and cocoa powder, a little bit of vanilla. They're no bake.
So it's a cluster of ingredients that nobody really likes.
But it's really good when it's all together.
Why isn't it circular?
Because you plump it.
So it's not a cookie.
It is. It's a no bake.
No, it's a brownie.
No,
Cookies are circular. Brownies are square.
this isn't square.
Bert, back me up here.
I think cookies are circle, brownies are square.
That is not a circle. There's
Then
just a
what
clump
is this?
of shit that you want to eat.
That's a fucking clump. Yeah. That's a fucking turtle's turd.
It's a no bake cookie.
It's not a cookie. No.
Look
I'm not letting you get away with that. If it was
It's
circular,
not just wreath cookies. So a wreath, well, I guess they're circles, but they have holes in them.
That's just somebody who's like, all right, I got all these ingredients. I'm just gonna lazily like chop them up however they land.
Have you not had no bake cookies?
I don't care what it is that you want to call it, whatever flavor. It could be cream of semen. It could be chocolate chip. It's got to be circular.
Yeah, and also no
No,
bake
but what
cookies.
about
Okay, so it's just a
cookies?
bunch of sugar and dough, and you're like, here you go. It's like,
What
no,
about-
that's a fucking trick you pulled on one of your friends you don't like.
Sugar cookies?
Yeah.
Decorated cookies like reindeers and stuff?
All right. Now you're just wandering off into another cookie realm. This clump
Well,
that we're
they're not
talking about is not a cookie.
This
Is a hot dog a cookie, guys?
a hot
let's be real.
dog. No, that's not the same.
Circular.
Why did
If
you
you
have to
look
think
at it the
about it?
other end.
Cylindrical. Cookies.
Stop holding up your clump of dough as if it's going to impress us further. It's not. You're not getting it.
Good.
Gross.
Thank you.
So there's
I had a
what?
roommate who dated a girl who worked at a French bakery specializing in macaroons. That was dope. I'd like come out and they're just like, oh fuck, there's a whole plate full of macaroons covering up my entire table. Sick.
I've never been a big macaroon fan, but I respect a good macaroon.
Yeah. I wouldn't go out of my way, I'll say that. But coming
I've
out of
never
my
had a macaroon.
room to see a bunch of them, yeah, it was a good surprise.
What's a snack that you would go out of your way for, other than Little Caesars?
Regine.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings?
Well, I'm just thinking, I'm thinking of the meals that like I order on Postmates, even though it's like $30 more to get them
West
delivered. Yeah.
Postmate.
15 boneless wings are like $50. It's like kind of insane. And I'm like, but I really want them.
Let me ask you this: how much would it cost you to just drive and go get it?
Oh, dude, like $20.
That's why I'm always a person like, no, I'll just go grab it. Don't deliver it because it's so much more.
It's crazy. Well, and that's why I got Factor in the first place. I got this, meals delivered to my door. So,
Oh yeah, how is Factor working out for you? What's the Factor review?
So here's what I'd say. I think that they have decent ingredients. I'd say a lot of them are pretty similar, right? It's just like a bunch of steamed broccoli in most of them for the vegetable. But at the same time, I feel like I'm healthier and I'm saving money. So mixed bag, right? I could probably still go to Fred Meyer's, pick up one of those Home Chef things for $6.99.
Kroger's?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Kroger's. So this is double that, but it's also like 1/3 of what I spend in Postmates. That being said, I go out a lot, and if I'm like out, I'll just buy something at the bar that I'm at. So they have stacked up in my fridge to the point where I have 20, and I had to like skip a couple weeks because they're just like backlogged at this point.
What has been your favorite Factor meal so far?
I had a filet mignon that was pretty sick. Filet mignon with asparagus. It was like $2 extra than the normal, but it's pretty bomb.
Did you scoop the asparagus in the trash can like you're supposed to in the directions?
Scooped it right into my waiting, eager little bird beak.
That's gross. It was made even worse by the way you described it.
Yeah.
Wagyu? I've heard of it. I don't know that I've actually
I
had
always forget
it.
to pull up the chat.
What?
I always forget to pull up the chat.
You don't need to pull up the chat. There's two able-bodied human beings here for you to talk to.
I like to chat with people too.
But Jay Ick makes a great point. Y'all ever had Wagyu? DJ Zone is a famous, meat connoisseur. And I say that not in a, 16-year-old giggity way. This man has all the best cuts of meat. And, I wake up in the morning at like fucking 7, go into my office, and the entire kitchen just smells like the most delicious herbed buttered meats. It's delicious.
You like herb-smelling meat?
I just like good cooked meat, and this guy is a master chef. So every morning in the, early AM, before I've even had a cup of coffee, I'm like, oh shit, it smells like a Michelin star restaurant in my kitchen.
There you go. Nikki, now what are you snacking on? Because you've switched foods, obviously. You have to keep us updated. Wheat thins, all right.
What was that gummies that you got that was like trash? It was like hamburger gummies.
Yeah, the Oscar Mayer gummies.
Yeah, weird.
Had like a whole hot dog shaped gummy that basically made you physically ill by the time you got a quarter of the way through it.
I got more sick from the Haribo gummies.
From the who?
That day, that one show, that there's like the clip of me like stretching gummies.
Wasn't that the same show?
Mm-mm.
Somebody needs to go back and clip all those together where Nikki's just
It's just me eating a bunch
stretching.
of different stuff. No, I eat so much on the show. I eat more on the show than I do like literally in life.
Why is that, Nikki?
I don't know.
Literally in life.
Why is that? I don't know. Takes a bite. I feel like here's the answer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's a response to anxiety and us asking and talking about a million things. You get anxious, and your response is to pop. It's basically like Xanax for you. You're just popping Xans at this point. All right, I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah, we need to have a new song, Poppin' Gummies. Joe at the helm.
Popping what?
Poppin'
Gummies.
Mm.
Shit gummies,
Oh,
as
yeah.
Vulgar would say.
All right, guys. It's 2023.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you have noticed because of your milk complexion, but it is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and there have been numerous celebrations throughout the year. We're obviously streaming while CBS is doing their 50 years of hip hop. But I would like to ask, is there a classic hip hop act that you guys admire the most
Eminem.
prior to the 90s?
Eminem.
Prior to what?
Prior to the 90s.
Hip hop exists before the 90s. I'm just kidding.
Is that a question or
No, I know I did. But no, just really don't know anything from before the 90s.
When are you gonna study the hip hop culture?
I've tried.
You've tried and you've given up.
The 90s. Name artists.
Queen
Big Daddy
Latifah,
Kane.
Dr.
LL
Dre.
Cool J.
That was all before the 90s?
Yes.
Oh.
I think LL Cool J.
But I don't know before the 80s. I don't know.
I think LL Cool J has some bangers from back in the day. I feel like a lot of this shit doesn't hold up to the modern ear, but LL Cool J has still got some jams.
Nikki's now doing a Google search for hip hop acts in the 80s.
How do you know that? Am I on the
facts.
WCR Google? That's literally
it's
exactly what it
obvious.
typed in. It was hip hop from the 80s.
Big Daddy Kane, pretty smooth operator, one might say.
Don't look at my Google history.
Who do you think, Dice? Who you got? Rakim?
I don't know. If I had to pick an 80s act, I would definitely
Beastie Boys are hip hop, yeah.
either be Run DMC or Digital Underground.
Salt and Pepper's from the 80s?
Yes.
Damn, I thought that was 90s.
I mean, they kind of
bands lasted until the 90s.
I know them from the 90s, so
here's the thing. Here's the thing about the 80s acts is they started out in the 80s, but they didn't get any notoriety until the 90s when corporate America was like, "Oh, I think we can make some money off of this."
I was born in the 90s, y'all. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry for being born. We're not asking you to apologize for coming into life.
Apologize.
Oh, Curtis Blow. Name's Curtis.
All right,
well, and here's the other thing is like I also, sure I was born in the late 80s, but at the same time, like I didn't know shit about hip hop or like any of these old bands. I went out and searched them on purpose. You know what I mean? I made it a point to go look this shit up.
I know other stuff than hip hop.
So what do you know?
Like
Don't say Stevie Nicks.
Southern gospel, like classic rock, country.
Well, okay, let me rephrase this question. As a 90s baby, is there any hip hop acts that are memorable to you? Or no, because you don't listen to hip hop?
I'm not vague. I don't know.
It's okay to say no. It's not an interrogation. I'm
that
not
like sticks out to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even in your short period with White Collar Rhymes, is there like a hip hop act that you learned about via somebody in the Discord that you said, "Oh, this person really resonates with me"?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. It's fine.
Maybe but see, I feel like I've listened to all rap, not hip hop. But it's such
rap is a segment of hip hop.
I know it's like I don't know it's like electronic music for me. It's all kind of mushes together. I don't know the differences and everything.
I'm gonna press the fast forward button and talk about another section of hip hop. P. Diddy. P. Diddy's been accused of a lot of things in the past couple weeks. Not any of them good. Have you guys been keeping up with the P. Diddy news?
So Cassie was his ex-girlfriend, also sang "Me and You," great song. Banger.
I love that song.
Mid song.
Agree to disagree. And she alleged abuse and physical, mental torment, all this shit. And then settled out of court with him. Was there other stuff? Was somebody? I think someone else.
A girl accused him of gang rape when she was 17, and I believe another lady also pressed charges for sexual assault.
Oof.
Which has in turn inspired 50 Cent to go on a daily tirade, basically trying to ruin Diddy's reputation and take ownership of Revolt as an asset?
I would say I don't know enough of it to have an opinion, other than once.
Well, the
You know,
thing that maybe we don't know enough about these ladies' individual situations, but from what we know about Diddy, do you guys think that he might be the person who some may perceive as abusive, where not maybe physically, we don't know the physical side of it, but like if you look at the show Making the Band, I think when we talk about stuff that doesn't hold up music wise, that show doesn't even hold up like on video, like culture wise, the way he was treating the people.
yeah, I mean, and let's be honest as well, right? Like, there's stories of him and Joyner Lucas getting in an altercation. This man, might have had something to do with some pretty high profile deaths of Tupac.
Yeah.
But who knows, right? I would say that I think just because he's famous doesn't mean he's not dangerous. So if you're listening out there, P. Diddy, I don't know. I hope if you're innocent, then you get off. I hope if you're not innocent, then
Well, even like the most famous rapper in the world, there was that time where it was rumored and possibly quite true that when Drake put out 0 to 100, the beat was supposed to go to Diddy. Drake
Right.
liked it so much that he just finished the song and released it. Diddy found out, pulled up on him, and smacked him in the face.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Violent man.
yeah, I mean, and it's tough.
Allegedly.
There's things that I don't want to know about celebrities, but from everything that I know about Diddy, I can't put it past him. But at the same time, I'm not here to paint villains and angels in the media. But it's not looking good for somebody who's been a staple of the music culture for like 3 decades now, or 4 decades, really.
Yeah, forever, dude. It's kind of crazy thinking of like someone so high profile. Like, the stories leak out every now and then. You're kind of like, oh, that's fucked up. But then you forget, right? And then once you put them all on the same page, they start stacking up. You're like, oh shit, this. Ugh, not looking great.
Yeah, and I think it's hard, especially in the music business, where it's not like a corporate ladder. It's not like Burger King. You can't necessarily work your way up the chain. It's all relationships and handshakes. So, like when somebody like Diddy says, "Hey, you can intern for me for free, and I get to talk to you like Gordon Ramsay, but don't worry, in 10 years I'll make you a superstar." Do you get treated like shit for 10 years, and then like 20 years later you're looking back at it like, man, that guy was really a piece of shit, and I want to tell somebody, but everybody's like, well, look, you're famous now. That's basically the predicament that Cassie was in. It's like, well, you had a semi-successful career. Everybody's leaving you alone now. What do you benefit from
Was it that bad? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in that way, victims feel kind of like cornered of like, can you tell your truth without people accusing you of like a money grab? And I've seen a lot of people say that, oh, Cassie was a money grab because she settled out of court. Maybe she just didn't want to fucking deal with the shit anymore, but she wanted everybody to know the shit happened.
I do think it's fucked up that people are like, oh, settled out of court, that means she was wrong or he was wrong. Like, that doesn't mean shit other than they found a price where they're like, all right, I can live with not pursuing this.
Yeah. And I think people say that it makes the person settling guilty. I don't know if it makes them 100% guilty, but it's definitely acknowledgement of like, we have some issues between us and neither one of us can actually see this through. Like you said, like what's the happy medium here where we can like walk away from this and kind of acknowledge that, yeah, some shit happened.
Yeah.
What's that price for you?
What'd you say, Nick?
For me, 100,000. Talk shit to me all you want. I'll take your 100 grand and I'll make something of it. I'll make something of myself yet, mother.
Do you guys believe that unpaid internships bring value to any business setting?
No, it's a cheat. It's unpaid. It's fucking slavery that they tricked some idiot into doing. So you're basically just doing the job you would have been doing for free for like 6 months or a year. So that's
I
a
think
year of unpaid bullshit.
it's different if you're getting like college credit for it or something, but like, yeah, if you're not getting shit for it, just so then
Have
you
either
can.
of you ever
Oh,
done
yeah,
any unpaid internships?
I did a year and a half of an unpaid internship. I did
Whoa,
Bird, did
that's
you?
a long time. Fuck no.
2013, 2012,
I did about a year in a couple studios.
maybe a year and a half at the radio station.
I mean, that's the scam, right? There's like they hold this dream over your
To
head. And they say you're getting valuable
$8 an hour.
experience. You're welcome.
To get hired into a job for $8 an hour.
I think it definitely,
free.
and it kind of goes back to the whole Diddy situation. I think it definitely depends on who's the person in charge of you. Because like you could have somebody who, I had two totally different experiences. I had one studio where I was basically working for a cocaine addict, and he would stay up 24/7, only have us cleaning the studio with the prospect of this is going to be big one day. A label's going to come in here, all these artists, and just nothing ever happened. And turned out he was basically like scamming everybody in the neighborhood and squatting in this studio that he basically stole from some other people whose name were actually on the lease. The flip side of it was, you know, this was back when Twitter was first really popping off. So like you had real access to like celebrities. And that's how I met Mr. Lee. Is he was like, yo, I'm starting a studio in Dallas. Hit me up if you want to be an intern. I messaged him and he was like, yeah, come through. And that's how I basically got real experience, was working with Mr. Lee. But even though it was unpaid, there were times when he was like, yo, we have a session with, I forgot who came through. It was back when like the Atlanta thing was popping off, and he had Mr. Collie Park come into town. He's like, yo, it's going to be early Saturday. I don't know if these people are going to come by, but I just need you there and open up. And he would give you like $100 on the side. It was unpaid, like as far as the day-to-day work, but there were still moments where he was like, he took care of the people that were there. And like, there's other people who were interns who were producers. And like, when we were working on Slim Thug's album, he was like, y'all send me your beats. I'm going to give a folder of beats to Slim Thug and just present it as mine. If he picks one of them, I'll tell him, oh, hey, one of the interns did that. And that's how a couple of the interns got production credits on Slim Thug's album. So it definitely depends on the person who's in charge of the internship. But I think 90% of the time, it's a messed up situation that only the person in charge benefits from.
Yeah, totally. Dude, somebody in the chat, Ilbird, shout out my avian brother, brought up that old, 500K or dinner with Jay-Z. Anyone that chooses dinner with Jay-Z is a fucking idiot. A fucking idiot. And I'll tell you why. It's like, oh, okay, I can have a guaranteed 500K that I can invest in things. I can work with whoever I want, build out my own studio, do a lot with actual investments, real estate. A dinner with Jay-Z, all that's promised is a fucking 45-minute window, maybe hour and a half max, where, like, sure, you'll get to pitch somebody who's a billionaire. Do you have an idea that's worth him investing in? Do you think that he's coming to dinner with his pocketbook open, or do you think that maybe he's just there for the publicity to take a picture and then to fuck off to go, hook up with all of his side chicks?
Is there any scenario where you would choose the dinner with Jay-Z?
None. Fucking
Well,
none.
I could pitch my hourly asshole alerts app. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, I even heard on Damon John, the founder of Fubu, he did like an interview with Jamel Hill, who used to be on ESPN, and she's like, what are the worst pitches that you get? And he's like, well, somebody comes to you and they don't have any sales or anything, and they're like, well, but I got this cool idea. And he's like, I had 5 ideas this morning. Why should I invest in yours before I invest in my 5 ideas? So it's like that whole, I'm going to pitch something to celebrities. Celebrities don't give a shit. Like, and I've even said that, like, even Slim Thug said this in person. I've seen 50 Cent say it, is like, you walk up to, that's why I tell people, don't walk up to me and start fucking rapping. I hate that shit. Like, don't walk up to me even as an artist and think I want to hear music from you. So like, imagine you walk up, like, and there was a video of this, some guy walked up to 50 Cent, he's like antagonizing, trying to hand him his demo, and 50's like, I'm on a date, you dumbass. Like, you're handing me a CD. I don't have a CD player in my car. You hand me a USB. I'm going to put it in my pocket and forget about it. What do you gain from walking up to an artist and start pitching them your music? They're not going to sign you. Half the time, they don't even care. Even if they like your music, they're not going to work with you. They're not going to be like, yo, let's go to the studio right now and cut some tracks. Like, I don't think people realistically understand how to approach and like manage relationships.
There's no level of skill you could do with an acapella rap that will get fucking Eminem to stop in his tracks. Like, that guy's got something.
I just
You know
blow
what I
fire.
mean?
You
What?
just what?
Check this out. Blow some fire.
I mean,
And
that's
then D-Bird will come in with his Little Caesars rap. And Eminem is from Detroit. And Little Caesars is from Detroit.
There's
so
nothing you can do.
they couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop it.
I appreciate your version of reality. No, if
I'll
I
go
was
there, you know?
if I was a celebrity who was already like sick of getting approached, the last thing I would ever entertain is somebody trying to like, pitch me something, especially in the form of a shitty acapella rap.
oh yeah, Jay. We my homie Evil and Pat. We talk about that scene all the time where the guy in Hustle and Flow, he hands Luda's character Skinny his CD and his tape, and then he goes to the bathroom and his tape is in the toilet. And he's like, "Hey man, tell me it fell out of your pocket." Like, handing your tape to an artist is never a plus for either person, because the artist is just going to think you're an asshole who doesn't understand how business work, and you're going to be like, "Well, I gave that guy my CD and he didn't even listen. He blew me off." That's how Stan got created.
Yeah.
Right, Nikki?
Yep.
From Detroit.
That's such a bad song. Like, it's a good song, but it's
Great
so...
song.
Why is it a bad song?
Because it's a sad story.
That's
Is
how
it
you know
really
it's a
sad?
good song.
What do you think is sad about that song?
Because people die in that song.
You don't know that.
I assume that.
Assumptions are for assholes.
It makes an asshole out of you and me.
There you go. Do you want to be an asshole, or do you want to own up to the reality of Stan?
Don't. He lived. He lived.
Give up.
He lived. Is that better?
He lived. All right, yeah. Stan lived. Everybody, calm down. Stan's still alive and well. He's just still like 60 and angry now instead of 20. How old do you? One thing that I always wondered about that, how old do you think Stan was when he was writing this angry letter to Eminem? You think he was Eminem's age, or you think he was older or younger?
Younger.
You think so?
I think younger, but only by a couple of years, if I had
Yeah.
to imagine.
Do you idolize people your age? Is there anybody that's famous that's your age that you idolize?
I don't, but I can see how somebody who's achieved a lot, you could look at them and be like, man, that should be me. So either a little jealousy or a little, like, oh, I'll reach out to them because they're my peer, can creep in.
Let me flip it then. What about admire? Is there anybody your age who's successful that you admire?
D-Bird.
It's a horrible
Choice.
choice. I'll name
She's just trying to flatter us.
two people that I admire are
What
LeBron.
favor do you need from us, Nikki?
Yeah, what do you need? What do you want?
Nothing.
Two people that I admire that are like within 9 months of me are LeBron and T-Pain.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some fucking crazy successful 36-year-old out there.
Yeah, some 33-year-old person.
Yeah.
I think that's when I knew that I was getting old, is like when the people who were more famous than the people that I admire were now like a decade younger than me. And then that's when I reined it in and said, I'm washed.
I started to feel old when I can't watch college football without being like, holy fuck, who put the football in these toddlers' hands? It's crazy.
I always felt like college athletics is the worst. It should not be televised. Nobody wants to see a bunch of amateurs running around while they're figuring out their fucking lives and failing in their history class.
But they're playing because they're trying to... I feel like they play harder in college.
Yeah, because they suck.
Yeah.
And the ones who are great are coasting through there like, I'm going to get drafted in 2.5 years while you fucks are here thinking I'm going to play 4 years and make it to the bench of the NFL. Sorry, a little tirade there. But yeah, college sports are the worst. I don't ever want to watch a college athletic event ever in my life.
I'll go a step further and say that anyone that's an adult showing up to a high school football team that doesn't have either a son on the field or a daughter as a cheerleader, you're a pedophile.
You mean you're not?
What if I
you're not-
go to like my
Pedophile.
nephew's football game?
You go to a
That's
high
irrelevant.
school football game to
What if
watch
it's for like my
these
nephew?
teenagers who you have no fucking connection to. No, I'm saying no connection to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like, I just want to see a bunch of
People do that in
teenagers
small
play
towns,
football. No,
People
you're
do that in
fucking
small
pedophile.
towns. Kingsley, when I went to Kingsley, oh my god, people would like literally it's like a breathe, eat football. Like the
Yeah.
whole town shows up to the football game.
No, that's my hometown too. It's very varsity blues. There's a bunch of fucking
Yeah, very Friday night.
year-old slobs with their bellies out in front of their entire body. They lead with their fucking belly everywhere they waddle down the high school football track. Yeah, it's wild. You're a fucking fat pedophile who literally life stopped for you at 16.
You don't like Friday Night Lights?
I watched the first season and it was all right. I was like, oh, am I back home? No, thanks. I don't watch TV to go, get transported back in my actual life.
What's wrong with being back home?
So much. Mostly the heroin and the Vicodin that Californians brought into our community.
Which is worse, the heroin or the Vicodin?
I think heroin, because Vicodin's all good until you can't afford it anymore. That's when you go down the heroin and start, doing injectees.
See a couple of folks mentioned in the chat about the famous aspect, Chance the Rapper, NBA Youngboy. I've never gotten into Chance the Rapper either, and I kind of agree with VA. Is like I don't know why he's famous because like the few songs that I've heard never really wowed me. Not saying that he's a bad artist because I don't know his catalog very well, but I was never wowed to the point of like, man, I want to listen to everything this guy has put out.
People put Chance up there as like their top 10 rappers. I don't fucking get it either. I love Cocoa Butter Kisses because it's a vibe, but yeah, agreed, Psycho. He's pretty fucking
I worked
mid.
a show for Chance.
You did what?
I worked a show for Chance before he was famous.
Famous enough to have someone working a show for him.
Well, he
How
was
was the show?
He's here in EMU. I was working in his dressing room, and I ended up helping with boards because one of his audio guys got fucked out. And they actually wanted me to like go and tour with them, like to go do stuff with them, and I couldn't. And it was
Why
weird.
couldn't you?
They were like, because they were in a van, and like it wasn't like legit. Like it was so.
That's how a
It
lot
was
of
so long ago.
that's how a lot of hip hop acts really start with their first
And
tour.
that's what I'm like, I don't know. I didn't listen to hip hop or anything. I had no fucking idea. I was just working a show and they loved me.
Even rock bands, like that's how you book your first tours. You basically say, well, I'm just gonna get a van where we'll rent a U-Haul, everybody pile in, we'll find a couple of shows in these cities and hit them up.
You know what I realized recently is like music is a young person's game, and it's young not only because it's like who cares what a 36-year-old has to say about rapping and popular culture. It's also because if your only income, if you're just a musician, your only income is from touring, merch sales, all that shit, you're sleeping out of a fucking van. And that's something that only sounds like okay as like a fucking 22-year-old. You know what I mean?
I disagree that it's a young person's game. Like, I think content-wise, maybe it's a young person's game, but it's really ran by everybody who has experience.
Well, the structure's in place for all the major labels. Yeah, they're all fat old white dudes, sure. But I'm talking about like independent musicians, those are rock bands, those that like tour and make full-time money independently. Like, you're not going to be wanting to run around to Albuquerque, New Mexico via van with your fucking wife and kids at home. You know what I mean?
I think that aspect of it feels like a young person's game because when you're young, you think that's how you need to move in order to become successful. Whereas like, look at like even the people who shift the culture, right? Like look at all the podcasts and the talk shows we have right now. They're all ran by 40 and 50-year-olds. You got Joe Budden, you got Nori, you got Gilly and his cousin Wallow. Like none of these guys are under the age of 40. And they're basically, when news happens, they're the people who speak on it and everybody listens to them.
Well, no, okay. Maybe I should clarify because I see in the chat VA's, disagreeing with me as well. Here's the deal: all of those people you mentioned, including all these old fucks, Jay-Z, Eminem, 50 Cent, all of these old people who are, kind of the bastions of hip hop nowadays. J. Cole, Drake, they're in their 30s, right? But these people all were around during the golden age of, the music industry, right? Like all of these people made their fucking names in the 90s and early 2000s when all you had was a fucking, a CD, people, a single on the radio, people judged that and bought the CD based on that, right? Anyone who's doing music now, like you're touring to make money.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think the reason that those acts did that is because that's how it's portrayed, that you need to, like, I see Ilbert Music said you need time to grow as a rapper and collect clout, only because that's what they tell you to do. Like if Sony Records came out and said, you know what, I don't want you to do a 50 city tour. I'm just going to invest $10 million and put you as like, I'll put you on the Wheaties box. I'll put you on talk shows. Like instead of you running around in these shitty clubs and performing, I'll put you in a position to be famous other ways. Like I feel like we pursued those avenues because that's how we thought you were supposed to get famous and generate interest in your music, when that's really the pigeonhole that they put you in. Is like, and it's basically what they do now is they like get an audience and then we'll sign you and we'll give you money. They're basically saying, fuck off until we feel like putting money in your pockets, rather than saying, you know what, I know how to make you successful. I'll put you here, here, and here, and it'll generate all these views and interests, and then we'll take it from there. Like they just basically pigeonhole you into doing that shit. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but I think the reason that we thought that you needed to hop in the sweaty van with your best buddies and drive the 50 rundown clubs is because that's what people are supposed to be doing. You're supposed to go out and build a regional fan base.
But especially now, right? Because like VA said, like streaming is fucking the death of all music, right? Like no one's selling physical CDs anymore. That's insane. You can still maybe make some physical CD sales at a merch table, just out of nostalgia. But really the money is you're a full-time retail salesman, right? You're getting the money that the venue paid you and whatever you sell at the venue from excited fans. That's how you make your money. So these days it's like, okay, the record company invested $1 million for distribution. They're going to take all of your streaming profits, all that shit. And you have to figure out how to make that money back to them. It's a $1 million loan. So how do you make your money? Well, I guess I have to fucking tour because that's the only way anyone's making any money in 2023. Unless you're already established like a Joe Budden and have a built-in fan base that will listen to your podcast.
But I think what the new acts are finding out now is that the numbers games that they play of like, I have 1 million followers, I have 2 billion streams, doesn't equate to like selling out touring shows. And it's becoming more about, it's less about the tour itself and it's more about being paid to appear places or being paid to like host something. Like, yeah, they go on tour, but I think touring is probably 40% of their income and 30% of it is like, hey dude, be in this commercial. Hey dude, can you like give a shout out to these people on my radio show? It's like those kind of things are what is going to generate more income than just I'm going to sell out every club that I can go to. Unless you're, like you said, unless you're somebody like Drake and, Travis Scott and all these people where you can sell out festivals and shit. Like even touring is going to be like a wasteland of like break even, barely make it profit type shit.
Oh yeah, dude. It's a loser's game. Awesome female rapper / singer that I listen to from Doomtree named Dessa. She just did a story about this like on Instagram of like, hey, sorry, bumfuck towns, but there's a reason, we're not stopping by these smaller venues is we'll lose money if we stop on this tour, right? Santa Gold stopped touring because of it. She's like, I'm losing too much money. It doesn't make sense for me to tour here anymore.
Yeah. And that's why, when we said like that used to be the way to go is like your buddies all say, well, let's rent a van and just drive to these cities. Now it's like gas is expensive. Hoteling is expensive. You can't just like park your van anywhere anymore and like think that you'll be okay. Like the break even on it in today's world is a lot different than it was 20, 30 years ago, where it's like it doesn't really make sense to just hop in a van and tour everywhere unless like VA said, you have some capital saved up to where you can really afford to take 6 months out of the year and just say, this is all I'm going to do, drive around and do shows and not make money. Right, Nikki?
Yeah, sounds super fucking expensive.
Why don't we rent a van and drive around and do shows?
I will just tour, but I'll just come visit everybody.
I mean, you could film it and basically start. Honestly, that's and we were talking about this. I don't remember the other day or something, but like, oh yeah, Gons with his stupid delivery shit is like, there's people who literally just film themselves on their day job as like a side hustle. And like, if you chose to say, hey, I have 20 friends spread out across the US, I'm just going to drive to each person and blog about it and post videos of it. I'm sure you would gain at least a few thousand followers after about 10 videos.
Yeah.
Just because people are that hungry for other people's personal.
People don't want to know what you're doing all day.
There's entire communities built around like, van life and then the people that follow them in their van, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I love that.
I think people are voyeuristic by nature. They're like, I want to see how other people live because my life is so boring. And if I can get a little sense of adventure without any of the risk, then, that titillates me.
If she liked traveling, I would have a van.
Not shocking. This is not a jaw dropper by any means.
No. I learned how to drive in a van, so a big E350. 3 rows of seating, big ass conversion van.
I used to drive one of those.
Yeah, that's what I learned how to drive when it was our van from when we were kids.
I also learned that if you need to go above 60 on a very large bridge, that you basically have to floor it, and it's not going to go above 60. And everybody's just going to have to go around you.
They don't do well on mountains either.
They don't. And they're just going to have to honk and go around you because, buddy, the gas pedal is at the floor. Can't go any faster in this thing. So, sorry.
Dude, I remember driving just my old piece of shit Mercury Mystique, like 5 hours back and forth from where I went to school to like where my family lived. And it's basically one road straight, just rolling wheat fields, nothing around, right? But every now and then you get these douchebags that like go 10 under the speed limit on this empty road. And I just remember my poor little Mercury Mystique. I tried to pass this guy, put the pedal to the metal, and it went pfft, and I heard a little pop. And before you know it, my front started smoking. And this is in one of those sections of America that just nothing is around. There's no service. Like I was fucked. And I had to pull over to the side of the road, kind of wave people down to get help from the nearest town like 30 minutes away. It all turned out okay, but don't drive shitty cars, I guess.
You didn't get axe murdered?
Not this time. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Me too.
You don't see a lot of old cars driving around anymore.
I mean, that's just your old brain talking. You're like, oh, 2003, that's a new car. It's like, nah, it's not, man.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess you're right. Maybe like 03, 04.
2003 doesn't sound old to me, but it's 20 years old.
Maybe I'm still thinking of like the 80s and 90s vehicles as old, but I guess they would be well out of circulation, and now it's like the 2000s, 2010s that are old.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
Crazy.
All right.
So old.
I know Nikki's going to say no.
No.
But I'm going to ask anyway. Nikki, are you familiar with Cam and Mace?
No.
God damn it.
It's like pepper spray?
I know what you're talking about. The Jack Harlow thing?
No, not even that. I'm talking about the Megan Good thing. Not Megan
Where's
Good.
the channel you're reading?
Melissa Ford thing.
Oh, I don't know.
So I guess Cam and Mace on their show, they were talking about how they went to a whorehouse back in like the early 90s. And then they left with some young lady. it came up as a topic on the Joe Budden podcast, and then Melissa Ford kind of interjected and said, you know, those kind of places happen to have underage girls, and you know, kind of loosely implying that perhaps maybe they had some sort of entanglement with underage girls. And Cam and Mace's rebuttal is like, you can't slander us like that with like all the shit going on with Diddy and like all these other people who get accused of assault. And they were like, you know, we were underage at the time. We were 16. So if you're talking about people who are underage, we were underage too. And I kind of watched the video too, and like the way that she kind of threw it out there was kind of weird. Like, you know, they're on their show talking about an episode of their past, and you kind of throw in some stuff that really had nothing to do with that topic at all. And it makes me wonder, like, why do people start fires where they don't need to be?
To make themselves relevant, to make themselves interesting, and to be part of the conversation, right? It's like, oh, here's a popular culture thing people are talking about. Let me throw a fucking stick of dynamite in there and have people talk about my name in the same breath.
But it's weird because she's on just I would argue, an even more popular platform than Cam and Mace, because really their show is a sports show, and they sometimes talk about stuff that happened in their lives because they've been in the industry for like 40 years. But like to kind of like imply those things on them is kind of like, it's degrading. And it's kind of like, it's fucked up, because it's like, why would you bring that negative energy on people who are supposed to be your peers? Why would you do that?
Melissa Ford?
Yeah, Melissa Ford. She used to be a video vixen.
Okay.
Remember Kanye West said Melissa Ford used to drive a Honda Accord?
I heard that Melissa Ford, like women named Melissa Ford, actually practice pedophilia. Every single girl named Melissa Ford that I've ever heard of.
If she's like an actual Ford that runs Detroit, then
look into it, people. The signs are there.
The Fords aren't the best family.
What are we doing
I'm just
here?
saying, it's crazy.
I know,
it's crazy to throw around speculation like that. It's like, oh, did you know video vixens? They actually drug a lot of the producers on those music videos. A lot of them are drugged and raped and stolen from the video producers that hired them to be vixens. Did you know that? Allegedly.
Allegedly, coming from Deaver, and he only tells the truth.
Mm-hmm. It's just what I've heard. It's not coming from me even. I just heard some people talking about it.
I gotta see if she's actually related to the Fords here, though.
She's not.
Still insists on searching. Like, nope. We're pressing enter into Google.
Just search Melissa Ford.
Yeah.
I know you can spell it wrong. It's with a Y instead of an I. It's okay.
What?
Melyssa.
Oh.
See the Ford resemblance there?
You'd be surprised.
I'm surprised every time you tell me about your family history.
He's Canadian?
Yes. But no, I mean, it was definitely alley-oop of topics that didn't need to be had, and now Cam has said I should sue for defamation of character. Joe Budden and crew have responded like, fuck you, that's goofy, I stand with Melissa. So I really hate to see like basically icons of the culture kind of like have these little petty disagreements over stuff that like could be solved with a phone call. Like I'm sure Joe Budden could like just call Cam on the phone and be like, yo, can we talk about this? Like,
but no, because like at the same time, you can't take back the impact it's had. You can't take back, thousands, if not millions of people are talking about them in the same breath as that. That's not a phone call. That's what the fuck are you doing?
You can't take it back, but I think at least on a personal level, they could have some understanding where it's like, yo, I saw what happened here. I see the hoopla going on social media, but at least can we have some sort of like understanding between us as like human beings in the same space, rather than playing this whole like I'm gonna get on Instagram Live and talk shit for a few minutes. I'm gonna get on my show the next episode and talk shit for a few minutes. Like it just basically becomes a TV drama.
Yeah, they're trying to control the public narrative, right? They want to control the public's opinion. Both of them have their sides, and they're like, I want to sway the public this way. I want to sway the public that way. That's what it is now, and they have the platforms to do it.
The public is stupid.
Yeah, I mean the fact that there's a full-time reporter following Taylor Swift around, employed by Entertainment Tonight.
I beg your pardon.
E News just hired a full-time reporter whose only job is to follow Taylor Swift around, see what she's doing, what's she eating, who's she hanging out with. That's a job in 2023.
How much does that pay?
I don't know. I mean, I've been doing that for years for free, but
man, because I'm
that
telling
was just
you,
for personal use.
I tell people all the time, like sometimes you find out about these career paths, and it's like, man, if I would have knew I could apply for that job, like, hey, follow this obscure celebrity around. Yeah, sure. All expense paid, meals covered. I'm there. I don't have to clock in between 8 and 5 and like do a bunch of random corporate diddle shit. I can just like follow fucking Taylor Swift across the country while she has sex with her boyfriend and spends money at the Gucci store. All right, take some pictures.
Yeah. And what are the qualifications, right? You're like, very, very sneaky, sir. Right? Like, here's my sneaky photos.
You have to have a pointy mustache or a curled mustache.
Yeah, very, very sneaky, sir. Oh,
Nikki, what's the most crazy job that you've heard about that you wanted to have?
I always look into crazy jobs. That I've wanted to have. There's just weird jobs. Everything's a job, so I always think about like the weird, like
what's a job that you've heard that somebody's doing that you were like, I should be doing that job.
I've always wanted to be like a stewardess or something like that with travel. I know this is weird.
I'm removing Nikki from the show.
Why?
For lack of.
It's not that weird, but it's, I don't know. Like, I've had weird jobs. So.
I'm asking for the weird one. I'm not asking for like I just want to be a flight attendant.
That is weird that you want to cheat death every fucking other day.
I guess that's the weird aspect is you want to be in a metal flying death trap.
Yeah. It's like, oh, turbulence, yes, please.
Here's my job that I want to be a Lego master. I want to be a guy who just builds random large objects out of Lego, and Lego literally pays me to go across the country. Hey, go to the Mall of America and build fucking Frosty the Snowman every December. Go build a statue of D-Bird in Portland. Like, imagine being paid to just build like Lego shit. And then you tell them one day, you know what? I'm trying to build a big cock out of Legos, but I don't have this particular piece. Can you manufacture some cock pieces for me? And they just build that shit for you. I want to be a Lego master.
He wants to be a cock master, sounds like.
I already am.
Yeah. Weirdest job I ever wanted to do was back in like 2008 or 9, right when Charlie Sheen was having a full-on breakdown. He did a competition to be his assistant.
Oh, I remember that.
And I signed up for it. I was like, dumb. I was like, oh yeah, I can go party with Charlie Sheen. Tiger's blood, am I right? And it's like, it sounded good in my head, but I'm sure he only did it to like fuck a bunch of like 20-some interns. You know what I mean? It wasn't for me.
It was a combination of that and like, fuck it, everybody's talking about me. Let's get some more people talking about me. Be my intern, and I'm never gonna hire you.
Yeah.
There's like the professional cuddler jobs and like the professional sniffers. Those ones are weird for deodorant.
Sniffers? Oh.
Yeah. I applied for a job as a wrestler once.
A wrestler?
I was gonna be the deuce queen.
The who?
Deuce queen.
Yeah. That was the whole thing.
Pooping?
No, like deuces, but yeah, kind of.
You mean a ring girl?
It was both. No, it was like WWE, like small little thing.
Oh my god, I've seen that blue collar wrestling show on Netflix and picturing you in it.
And I don't know, there's just been a lot of weird jobs. I've milked cows, stuff like that. Really basic jobs though. I've worked out as
milking cows is only weird if you do it with your mouth.
I was a lunch lady. Being a lunch lady was a little weird because I was like 17.
This is gonna be the strangest thing that I've probably said on the show, but Nikki, you need to be more adventurous in what you're saying right now. Like lunch lady, stewardess. I'm not impressed. Like, tell me you want to go swallow swords in Count Chocula's mansion in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I would go blow fire for somebody. I got paid to blow fire before.
I
Would
got
you do it
paid to
again?
blow.
Yeah, I
Fire.
love blowing fire. It's so much fun.
Why is it fun?
I don't know. It's just fucking. You feel so
Let me-
powerful blowing
Let me,
fire.
let me ask you, melanin
The
deficient people.
sound, the heat of it, like everything happening at
It's like
once.
the second
is
time you
like-
mentioned blowing fire.
I love blowing fire. It's so much fun.
Sure, the barbecues are a blast.
I used to
Yeah,
I would take like a beer bottle and like light like the top with like a napkin in it, and I grab some Zippo fluid and blow fire.
A buddy of mine once said, and it still remains true to this day, that white people only have fun when their lives are in danger.
That's not endangering.
Popping a bottle with fire isn't danger. It's fucking a flammable liquid. It's basically a bomb. You have a compressed bomb of alcohol.
Yes. No, because there's no alcohol in it.
How does the fire stay fire?
I blow the fire. I light a torch.
Okay, what is the thing that keeps the fire
I
flaming?
put a napkin in it, or like a rag.
What is the accelerant?
Gasoline.
There you go.
Zippo fluid.
All right, Nikki.
Well, you have to do that, or 151, but 151 it fucking burns if you don't blow it right away.
Yeah, because there's alcohol in it.
Well, 151 is alcohol, it's Bacardi. Rum.
I don't know why you're tap dancing around this with me as if
So,
you're right.
but
and I'm
like
wrong.
it's better to use like Zippo fluid because it evaporates faster. So like if you get it on your face when you're blowing fire, it won't catch on fire. Like I watched Vern's face catch on fire. It's the craziest shit I ever seen. And fire blowing
Where's OSHA when you need them? Like, hey, swallow this Zippo fluid and then blow it out your mouth and light it on fire.
What was at a restaurant that I worked for?
Restaurant is like the
We
worst.
we were flame throwing flare bartenders. So I used to do bar shows, and I would pour a bunch of shots and throw bottles around and blow fire, like tequila, like da 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 da, and I would like blow fire.
Mickey, 5 minutes ago I said you need to be more adventurous, and I'm walking that back. I apologize.
I just think that's a normal job.
After you sat here sucking down Zippo fluid and blowing fireballs in people's faces, I now understand why you said being a stewardess is adventurous. Because you already did some wild shit, and you think flying in a metal death trap is adventurous. So I agree. Be a stewardess. That's what I think.
Yeah, like, but that was fun.
Mine.
Vulgar worked there with me.
I don't think that was by her choice. I think you're like, hey, this seems like a good idea. And she's like, okay, Nikki, I'll go with you. I feel like that is the dynamic that you two have is like, Vulgar, I have this insane idea. Let's go door to door, 2 young ladies, and sell vacuums. All right.
I forgot about that too. Yup.
Let's walk in this rundown neighborhood with a bunch of Oric vacuum cleaners
It was
in
fun.
hand, right, walking on the asphalt. Pull up to somebody's house, ask them to let us in the living room. They close the door, and we vacuum their carpet.
Yeah, Vulgar's the one with just like a bag of movie popcorn, just like, oops, oops, did I do that?
Did I
Nikki's
just
like,
happen to
luckily,
pour
I've got just the thing.
I just happened to pour these gravelly rocks on your carpet. Nikki, do you have something that could suck them up and clean the carpet? Why, yes, I do.
Yeah, guys, my cheeks hurt so bad. Please stop.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the move. Or, allegedly you could just go into this house, start stabbing the wife in front of the husband and 2 children. As she bleeds on the carpet, you start zipping it up with your vacuum,
I just happen to have a carpet cleaner that removes blood stains. What do
It's
you
a
know?
sale. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg was I remember Snoop
There
Dogg
is
asked for
professional
somebody to
pinball
roll joints.
wars. They actually they have these crazy competitions where they do the craziest joints. Oh my gosh. That is a job.
I judge that a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
When I was younger, I always wanted to be somebody's writer. Like I loved writing.
Why aren't you somebody's writer?
It's not a real job.
It is a real job.
Like handwriting things down for people?
Yes.
How do you even find that?
Look on TikTok and look up handwriting people.
Right here.
Just write people's fucking names. They even started putting ads on Instagram, like they'll make your signature for you.
I have a whole calligraphy set.
Nikki, I feel like, never mind.
I hate when you do that.
What?
Although we know that VA hates my writing.
He writes girlier than you. There's nothing to hate about. Here.
This is my scribbles for like.
I remember because you don't know how to write. That's the problem.
I do know how to write.
Oh my god. One of the best videos I've ever seen in my life was VA trying to read Nikki's handwriting over a beat. That was beautiful. It's like some D&D.
We should listen to that.
Dungeons and Dragons shit. Yeah, it was a good time. What else we got, Dice?
You guys excited about the presidential election next year?
That's what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a fucking shit show. The fact that it's even close is insane to me. And yeah, I am worried about the fate of the world based on what happens in America in 2024.
Do you think there? I hate to ask this question because I know you're gonna just start spewing out curse words. But do you think there is a chance Donald Trump is the nominee for Republicans again?
Yeah, it's all but locked up unless he gets locked up.
Wait, even if he gets locked up, do you think they would still nominate him?
Yeah, because they don't care. They're a fucking death cult, man. Like, they don't give a shit. They're like, he's a proven rapist. Like, not my words. This is, a jury found him guilty of rape and then awarded the woman a bunch of money. I don't need to get into it. The fact that it's close is crazy.
All right, I'll switch topics. The Cybertruck launched.
Woo!
Are you guys excited about the first Tesla truck launched in the world? No?
No.
Nobody cares about electric vehicles?
I wouldn't put a fucking cent into Tesla now that we know what we know, right? Like, there was a time where I really wanted a Tesla car because I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, once they actually build out the infrastructure for this a little bit more and all those bumfuck states in the middle, like, start getting electric stuff, sure. But then we saw Elon Musk is basically a fucking idiot who just has so much money, so much more money than sense. He's going to drive that fucking company into the ground just like he did Twitter. I don't want to be around for it.
Twitter's actually doing pretty good.
It's not, though.
In what way?
In the monetization way, right? Like, it still exists, but it's lost all of its sponsors, right? Like, it's existing right now, but if you look at just the profits, if you look at, the metrics of it, usage, yeah, it's fucking on its deathbed.
It's like gambling too much.
I use Twitter more now than I did a couple years ago.
Maybe you do. It's not the case globally.
He should have stopped while he was ahead.
I'm actually happier that companies are pulling out of Twitter because companies advertising on Twitter is what made Twitter worse. I would rather companies not advertise on Twitter and they figure out another business model. So I'm pleased that people are pulling out of it.
Well, they already tried, right? Like, he had no plan. He has no idea how to manage, anything. So
is that the fault of like companies such as Twitter and Tesla that we are so closely tying them into Elon Musk that we can't enjoy those companies?
I think that if you're Elon Musk and you say, here's a platform which doesn't allow free speech because of a couple Fox News articles that I read. This is my whole opinion now. And you buy it without any fucking plan on moderation, which is crazy complicated, right? It can't just be everything is allowed because then you have a bunch of fucking crazy illegal pornography. You have beheadings. You have all just the worst shit. You have a bunch of right-wing propaganda. white supremacist propaganda that gets a voice and it gets louder, right?
I think the thing
And
that
that's
people
kind of exactly what happened.
But I think the thing that people are missing is all that stuff was already kind of allowed. Like, there's already porn on Twitter. Like, you can post people fucking on Twitter and it doesn't get removed. Like, porn has always been allowed on Twitter.
I'm
Whether
not saying it
beheadings,
wasn't.
yeah, but like when somebody starts vocalizing it, now people are like, oh, well, now it's just open air for anything to happen. Like, people, there's been porn on Twitter since Twitter first started.
I'm not talking about porn. I'm talking about moderation, right? They don't have the resources anymore available to moderate. And part of that was on purpose. And part of it was just what happened since, they got ruled by an evil overlord, right? All of the people that knew what the fuck was going on either got fired or left of their own volition. And now you just don't have the resources to keep up with all the shit that's out there.
Is there a platform that does massive community moderation?
Yes.
Good.
Facebook
Facebook is
Instagram.
horrible. Like, Almighty VA gets banned for saying I'm back. Like, he literally posted I'm back or something very basic, and they banned him or they put him on notice for like 72 hours.
Look, I'm not saying that like there isn't the risk of over moderation, but what is that? A fucking click? Like, dispute. Okay, right? Like, I'd much rather have that than like just my feed filled with fucking beheadings and horse fucking. You know what I mean?
If your feed is filled with beheadings and horse fucking, then you have that's your algorithm. I think that's how the algorithm works. It's the same algorithm. Like, when people show you their For You page on Instagram and all you see is models, tits, and asses, and it's like, well, bro, maybe you should stop liking and following people.
Yeah, because mine doesn't look like that.
Mine doesn't look like that either.
We did a stream where we showed our search bar, and I put it up there, and it was actually pretty good. I was surprised. I was like, there should be more titties on here, but just a bunch of basketball shit.
Yeah, I mean, when people are complaining about the content they see, it kind of like leads back into like, well, what are you searching for? What are you liking? What are you actually subconsciously following? And if you don't like the content that you're seeing, it's more of a reflection of self than it is the platform that you're on.
To some extent, but on the other side of the coin, something like Twitter, right, where you follow news stories because they're news, right? You have a bunch of right-wing fucking white supremacist shit, right? And you're following along, you're commenting on this shit. And maybe, of course, I have media literacy, right? I know what the fuck is right, wrong, opinion, fact. But there's a lot of people that just don't have that fucking bone in their brain where they can tell the difference between opinion and fact on the internet. And then you have these crazy stories that, conspiracy nuts just go fucking ham over. And the more that you go down that rabbit hole, the more it feeds into your paranoia and your fucking crazy theories.
I think
that's how that shit works.
I think that speaks more on a reflection of how poorly our thought process is as a society than it is like systems like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Because it's like, me personally, I don't follow any news accounts. Like, news accounts there's too much news that I don't want to be watching the news every day. Like, I don't understand people want to watch the news every 6 a.m. Like, there's too much to consume on a daily basis globally for you to want to follow a news source on a platform like Twitter. Secondly, like, you follow celebrities who live like an entirely different lifestyle. Like, the shit that people find out about Diddy now, people in the industry knew 20 years ago. Like, people follow these things because they think, oh, I want to learn about this, and they start learning about it, and then they're appalled because all of this information is being funneled into them. And I think that as a society, nobody was prepared for like the way that the internet would explode people's fucking minds and like show them things that they probably didn't want to see just by thinking that I'm going to follow Fox News and I'll learn about what's happening in the world. No, you're going to learn whatever the fucking editor bias is that they decide to feed down that pipeline that day. Oh, I'm going to follow Young Thug and I'll learn about Young Thug in the studio. No, you're going to get like a bunch of gang innuendo and like all of a sudden like I'm pushing positivity. I'm a true humble under God. Like, you're going to get a bunch of like misguided bullshit. And I don't think people know how to filter out like what's quality content to consume versus what's just bullshit.
But at the same token, Twitter as a platform showcases what the trending topics are, right? And if you look at the trending topics on Twitter nowadays, it's all fucking white supremacist shit, right?
I don't mind.
And yeah,
But
100%.
and that goes back to like I don't look at the trending topics. I follow people that entertain me that aren't celebrities. So like if massive
You're a
behavior,
weird use case.
but I know, but that's what I'm saying is like quality of user experience is based on the quality of user. Like I'm not looking at like, oh, Palestine, like Palestinians are beheading like Israeli babies. Like I'm not looking at the global news shit because all I know is it's just going to filter in a bunch of shit that I don't want to see. I'm following the guy who's in New York talking about, man, my day's fucked up because my boss just did this shit. Like if you follow the trending topics, yeah, you're going to get a bunch of shit that you don't want to see and probably not good for you mentally. Look, that's just the fact of any platform.
You want to stick your fucking head in the sand, that's fine. I have no
My head's not in the sand. I'm well aware. But no, I'm well aware of like the shit going on in the world. But if you like following the trending topics every day and mad about the trending topics, that you're gonna be mad every fucking day.
Look, I'm not even speaking personally about myself at this point. I do look at the global trending topics because I'm curious, right? There was a time where Twitter was a great news source for instant, what the fuck is happening here, right?
But you should be able to get that from the people that you follow is my point. You shouldn't have to say, I need to look at the topics in order to know what's going on. Like I can look at my timeline of the people that I chose to follow and see, oh, people are talking about Amazon was hacked and it's adding random shipping places to you. And then somebody corrects them. They're like, no, it was just a glitch. Like, I don't need to go to the trending topics to see what's trending. I'm following the people that are saying the stuff that's trending that I want to be interested in. Not just
only following specific people who filter it through their lens, right? If you follow the global trending topics, then you can get it from everybody and see which ones are saying what,
And what value does that add when you get from like everybody versus the people that you know are better sources of information?
Usually what happens, and again, this is pre like Russian Twitter trolls, fucking Chinese Twitter trolls, like they've taken over Twitter at this point.
That's what I mean. It's like if you follow the global trending topics, you got like 1,000 army of people like we need to talk about. Like if you look at like the whole Israel-Palestine conflict right now, I can tap on any like post that's popular and there's like free Palestine, and then there's the people who are pro-Israel like Hamas must be defeated, Hamas must be defeated. There's nothing quality in any of those comments that makes it of value to me. But if I chose to follow like 5 people that I've known for years and they talk logically and they start talking about it, I'm not going to see all this clickbait conspiracy bullshit that I would see that's in a trending post, which is why I say I avoid the trending posts, but I still see the trending topics because people that I know are logical thinkers and quality posters are talking about it in a sane manner. They're not just saying propaganda, like left and right. So I'm getting the same news information. I'm getting the same topics, but I'm not getting it from like random chaotic sources that are just focused in on one tunnel vision.
See, and that's where I disagree, right? Because you're only getting whatever they happen to post about.
I don't follow,
but I don't guarantee that they're posting about, a topic that might be important.
I get my news from Discord.
But I also don't want to know. Crazy. I also don't want to know about every fucking topic that's going on in the world. Like if I hear anything about Taiwan and like how China is gonna like go to war with the US, it doesn't interest me right now. I don't want to follow even if that's a fucking global trending topic, I don't want to hear about it right now. If I do, I'll follow people talking about it. There's sometimes where I follow people who are talking about stuff. I'll be interested for a minute, but I'm like, you know what, this is overkill. I'll hit the unfollow button.
I'll always follow you.
No, you won't.
I get my news from you in Discord.
I hardly post on Discord.
I know.
That's fucking crazy, by the way.
What? I don't watch the news.
Crazy.
Even for me that doesn't watch the news, I still get news from somewhere.
Where?
Where do I get news from?
The fucking 4 people that he follows on Twitter.
Right.
So there's a couple of places I get news from. Like it's whatever's actively being discussed on social media, like Twitter. And I do look at the trending topics every now and then. I just don't engage in those content. But also like when I open up my web browser, it spews a bunch of shit at me. So if I know like something's happening, I'll see it. But I'm not actively seeking out the latest and greatest trending topic because like I said, like as an individual in a planet of a billion people, and there's like shit happening in some other country that I have no knowledge about, it doesn't make sense for me to consume everything that's thrown in my face. Like, there's like the trickle down effect of this thing may impact you, but like I have no business knowing about like hackers in Kazakhstan, robbed 1 million people. Like, yeah, it's news, it's interesting. I have no business knowing about internal fighting in India between northern Indians and southern Indians. I might learn about it because I might talk to my former project manager, and she's in Dubai, and she's telling me like how her family can't get along with this family because they're from different parts of India. But like on a day-to-day scale, like that shit has no impact on me. I have no business diving into North versus South India versus Pakistan every fucking day. That has no relevance to me, but it's damn sure a topic every day somewhere else in the world. So I don't consume worldly topics like that. I'm just aware of it.
Well, it's a good thing that you have the choice to dig deeper and double click into whatever topics are relevant to you, as long as you get them from a good source and that you actually search them out. That's it. It's pretty simple in my mind. It's like, oh, here's like 20 things that are happening in the world right now. Don't care about Northern Indian Civil War or whatever you said. It's like, oh, don't need to double click into that. And who knows? Ignorance is bliss. I get it. I like to be informed. The whole point I was trying to make wasn't about news we consume, what's good or bad. All I'm saying is that basically Elon Musk took a platform.
But were you a heavy
pretty
user?
Good at moderation? Was pretty good. Hold on. Was pretty good at moderation. Was pretty good at global trending topics of like just seeing what's happening in the world versus like a bunch of like fucking crazy conspiracy theories, and completely turned it on its head to be a fucking conspiracy theory training ground, and demonetized it, like fucking made him bankrupt.
I guess.
So do I trust his cars if he's going to do that to, a system that was already doing fine and just ruin it? No, I don't trust anything this man touches.
I guess my question is like, were you a heavy user of Twitter before Elon Musk took it over?
No.
Okay, because I was, and that's
I don't even care about
that's
Twitter
really my perspective
itself. I'm just saying that I know it's
that's my
worse.
perspective that I'm coming from. Is my Twitter experience hasn't changed regardless of who owns it, and that's why I'm just asking the questions to understand like what was your experience before Elon Musk took over versus after? Because like I don't see content being moderated because, and like you said, maybe I'm just following a pigeonhole of things that relate to me, but like my Twitter experience hasn't changed in. It's almost been like 15 years now. Like nothing has really changed for me other than people complaining about Elon Musk as the owner. And that's just my perspective. And like you said, I'm just one niche role of it, but I can understand people seeing it and feeling like a different experience. The only thing that's changed for me is more ads, which is why I said at the beginning, like for me, when companies pull out and they're advertising less, I don't care if Twitter fucking goes under. That's not my problem. I'm still using it for the reason that I'm using it.
To watch two people that live normal lives.
Yeah, stalk people.
It's a stock. Yeah, T Swift every day. He is the
man. If I could get paid for following Taylor Swift, like I don't know a lick of shit about Taylor Swift, but I will like get an encyclopedia and I will be like, I'll be Webster.
But yes, I did use it enough. Like I wasn't on it every day, and I'm not on it every day now. But I use it enough to see a noticeable difference, and it's in what conversations are happening on the platform, right? Before, the global trending topics was what is actually happening in the world. And then everyone would like be commenting on kind of the news stories of the day. Nowadays, if you go into Twitter, you search just global trending, it's just whatever the fucking craziest conspiracy theory is that you can think up. And then there's a whole bunch of fucking, troll farms that are pumping those narratives for a bunch of idiots to run and bring an assault rifle into a pizza place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
and I guess that makes me sad for you because, like I said, like I wish people had like a better Twitter experience where like they didn't feel like it was a troll farm, and like maybe I just kind of avoided, like even like now with like the hip hop culture, like the thing that I block the most these days is when people post like headlines and there's no like click this article to get more information. You know, they're like, oh well, Taylor Swift sucked off this waiter in the back alley, and then they just post a picture like a headshot of Taylor Swift. Like, no, you're not a fucking reporter. You're not a news outlet. You don't have a website where you're actually covering these stories. Blocked, and I blocked those accounts. So it's like, I wish people. I guess like what I'm saying to you is like, I wish your Twitter experience was better, where like you don't feel like you're being shuffled with propaganda. Because if I felt like I was being shuffled with propaganda, I'd probably be off it too.
I'll just end by saying I understand I can curate my experience. I understand I can follow specific people, block specific people and or influences. Same thing with Facebook, right? But I like to be aware of, you know, what the propaganda machine is trying to churn out.
All right, Grandma. Nikki.
Well, with that note, what was the question, Dice, to Nikki?
I asked if Nikki had some topics that we need to talk about.
I got no topics. You guys newsed me out.
We were just chatting about Twitter.
For what?
Just Twitter. We're just making it up as we go.
I don't tweet. I think I tweeted once and it said tweet. Maybe twice.
That's the propaganda bullshit that Bird is talking about.
I did that like literally in like, when did Twitter come out? Like 2000 something?
Like 6 or 7?
Yeah, it was probably, I think it was my senior year of high school. So 2008.
Did you have a MySpace page, Nikki?
I still have a MySpace page. I go on it like once a month.
Oh my God.
The server is so slow though, it sucks.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's myspace.com/knickknackpaddywhack.
Write that down.
Well, is there anything that you want to leave to your admiring fans, Nikki, that's been weighing heavy on your mind the last 7 days?
Well, you know, with the
I don't know.
with the holidays around the corner, if everybody just keeps on keeping on and hanging out.
Keep on keeping on and hanging out. All right, folks. Well, keep on and hang out.
Sorry, guys.
I guess we'll be back on Tuesday for the Tuesday show. I don't know who's going to be on there. I am.
Are we podcasting on Christmas?
When is Christmas?
Oh.
Well, I mean, you can.
When is Christmas?
Christmas Eve? Where's my big ass calendar?
I'll be on. I have no life. I don't have any family.
Eve. Well, I will be at Vulgar's house, so that's why I want to know. Because it's Christmas Eve.
You guys can go off. I'll podcast like I did last week. I'll tell people about the things that I just did sitting in my office all day that day. What's today? Wednesday, we'll have a review show. I won't be traveling, so I'll be here. And I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing this time, this energy. Energy was exchanged. Love.
You guys didn't do it. I didn't do a tarot.
Don't have time.
Okay.
Already ran out of
I'll
time.
make sure I give you a double long one next Sunday.
Don't give me a double long anything.
I will give you a double long one too.
All right. There's nobody worse rating. I'm gonna end the stream. We'll see you guys next time.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Gross.